Everyone, welcome to Kailul Kol Shira in partnership. Again, we always do in partnership with Breslov.org, one of my most favorite organizations that I feel privileged to work with my Rebbe, Reb Chaim Kramer, Zal Zayin Gesund und Stark. And my Rebbe, it's amazing that every day during my illness, he calls me up every single morning. It's murdik, unbelievable. So anyway, let's learn a nice Torah here now. On the parsha, we're in the parsha of Balak, and there's a beautiful Torah here in Likutey MoHaran. It's very short, but the short ones are always the sweet ones. And this is lesson 17 in Tinyan, in the second part of Likutey MoHaran. And the Rebbe says like this: it's the opening lines of our friend Bilam, Lahibit Oven B'Yakov. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't look at the iniquity, the iniquities, the sins of Yaakov. Look what it says here. The Rebbe says like this: Derech Hashem is Baruch. It's the way of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The way of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Lahabit al hatoivos she'oisen. HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at the good things that we do. He focuses on the good things that we do. Now he says, but we all know we all have our shortcomings, and we all know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees everything. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is specifically looking for the good. He's looking at the good, but we know, unfortunately, mixed in the good is sometimes something that's not so good. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not looking at this, says the Rebbe. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not looking at those things. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not look at the iniquities, the mistakes of Klal Yisrael. Now, that does not mean, chas v'sholem, that we should go along our lives and making mistakes. No, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about things that people are doing, lahachis, that people are doing things, against Hashem and so on, and they're angry and all of that. We're talking about people that are living their lives and they're trying to do good. And unfortunately, sometimes the person forgets to make a bracha. The person may have made a mistake and made the wrong bracha. A person may have said something he didn't mean to say. May have done something he may not have wanted to do. So if the general mahus of the person is that he's doing good, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu is like hibit oven b'yakov. He doesn't look at the bad. Again, we always make tshuva, and don't think for every night before we go to bed we're supposed to make a din v'cheshbon. We say Kriya Shema Lamita, right, before we say Hamapil, so we make a din v'cheshbon. And if we made any mistakes during the day, we're supposed to always charge ourselves with those mistakes, and we're supposed to say we're sorry to the Rebbeinu Shalom. We're not supposed to just go to sleep and not make an accounting. We're supposed to, if we made a mistake during the day, let's go over with the mistake that we made. Let's make it right. Let's make the mistake right before we'll go to sleep. But now look what the Rebbe says. And this is the point of the lesson, Chevra. That it's also for a person, for me or you, to look at somebody else, to look at a friend and see Ra. We're not allowed to do that. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu is like Hibit Oven B'Yakov, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu is looking for the good in Klal Yisrael, so we're supposed to emulate the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu does things. And the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu does things is like Hibit Oven B'Yakov. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not looking at the bad in Klal Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks for the good. So Allah is kama v'kama, us people, that we know we all have our shortcomings. How can we look at somebody else? How do we look at somebody else and we see bad? No. That we look at what's certainly not good, that's really not good in the person. In other words, we don't look at the person as a whole and say, wow, look what a nice year this yid is. look, I know he gives tzedakah, and I know he does this. No, I remember, I saw that, I heard him say this and that about the other guy. I saw him do this, I saw him do that. Wait a minute, why are you looking for that? And we learned many times that anything we see in somebody else, and any shortcomings that we see in somebody else, it's a teaching from the Baal Shem Tov, we only can see those things if we have the same faults within ourselves. So in other words, if we're not faulty of that same thing that we're looking at that person and sizing him up and judging that person that he did this and that wrong, you wouldn't see that thing if you didn't have that same problem. So in other words, we don't have that problem within ourselves. We cannot see it. It's only because we have that problem is why we can see the problem in somebody else. It's a very, very fundamental teaching of the Baal Shem. Who are we to look at the way this person, I didn't like the way he davened, I don't like the way this guy benched, I don't like the way this guy, I saw, we did Kiddush Levana together, and I saw, he wasn't participating right, or whatever. I'm just giving you examples, okay? Other things that we're participating with other people, and someone may look at the other person and say, "Oh, maybe this is not so good." No, this is the whole point. Lehibit oven b'Yaakov. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu is looking for the good, when the guy's standing there and he's saying the Kiddush Levana, I'm just using that as an example. It could be anything, okay? And he's saying the words, and he's trying. Even though he makes a mistake or he does whatever he does, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is looking at the fact that he participated in that he didn't run home, that he didn't run out of shul right away, Matzah Shabbos, if you did it Matzah. He didn't run out right away and run home, to do whatever he had to do. He stayed there. HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at the good. So why should we look at something negative about the person? Rak Adarabah, it's the opposite, mamish the opposite. Mechuyev lahabit rak al hatoiv. It's obligatory upon all of us to only look at the good, find the good. I gave you an example like this, with the Kiddush Levana. So the guy came and he he had to, and he didn't like the way, whatever it was, I don't know, whatever the case may be. But just so think of something good. Wait, the guy's here. The guy didn't run home. That's wonderful. It's wonderful that he's here. Find something good. Focus on something positive. Don't focus on the negative. Because again, you can only see the negative if you hold that same negative characteristic within yourself. Otherwise, you can't see it. And the only reason why you can see it is because that person holds it himself. So the same way, Lehibit oven b'Yaakov. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I don't look at the shortcomings of Klal Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the way of Hashem lahabed al ta'toivos sho'isim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at the goodness that we're doing. So we have to emulate that way, and we have to find the goodness in everybody and the goodness in everyone's avodah. Because again, what's in our business? How he's serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Is he serving me? Is he serving you? No, he's serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu is happy with it, who am I to say otherwise? Anyway, does anyone have any questions on this? Would anyone like to have any comments on this? No, Rabbi Yaakov, no. Marty, no. Okay. Yehuda, okay. All right, so thank you, everybody. Kol Tuv. Okay.